Well, the rapture hasn't come yet. I was kind of counting on it. So I guess let's go ahead and start, and I apologize in advance if my soul ascends as I'm speaking. So I'd like to share a poem with you today. I'm going to split it up into two parts and tell a story in between the two parts. It's a slam poetry piece, so you're welcome to use your voice as well. In fact, if I hear you reacting to something, you'll get a better performance out of me. So I once had a job, but I lost it in high school. Whenever I fooled myself into thinking that I needed their help, I was their fool. But now I'm my fool. And now I sign pools of rhymes into time cycles. I align myself with this bed of nails that's been recycled until I'm finally alive and dying at the same time. And when I sigh, then I'm sighing for peace. And when I die, then I'll rest there. Where I get my breath, there's a source of oxygen, a solidness imbued with phosphorus, and a solemn intolerance for anything but love. And it's rooted in love. It's rooted in beauty. It's rooted in a sense of simpleness and ambiguity. And so I'll focus on discernment and breathing. We've all earned a learner's permit. Permit yourself to grieving and be freeing, and to teething when you're teething, and see peace in believing, bereavements, bereft brethren, 7 settlements, indebtedness to the betterment of love, and to the practice of love, and to the sadness that comes with the lack thereof. I won't speak to the world when the world isn't listening deeply. That's why I waited this long to release this song of songs, songs of Solomon enthroned with the wood of Lebanon, songs entombed in the womb until I felt that there's room to stop absconding with my pregnancy. And now Baal Haman is expecting me, expectantly, and I'm incessantly setting precedents in the presence of the president who presides presently over the peasantry. I'll set aside a suit of simple symmetry. Synthetically, I synthesize the story of what's natural. That's a glass half full of embattled Saturn plasma. It's a boy. No, it's a girl. It's a toy. No, it's the world's surface enduring certain circumstantial services. Super solemn, superficial, super sacrificial splurges in our endless bags of purchases. The sermon at your service spoke to sympathetic tourniquets in need of seeking reassurance for the next effeminate person to pool a possible burden. I speak urgently because this is urgent. This emergency is emergent, and I'm another word, surgeon, servant, solace from my person, signs of solidness, enduring times of turbulence, ensuring that I'm a growing and a maturing little butterfly. I can fly, signed my guardian angel, staying sane at the same table as the stablest savior saves all the other saviors, bringing peace to your neighbors through osmosis. The closest soldier knows this war is hopeless. He knows that we're impoverished by the fists we've thrown, so now our foes can go home. And we can plow the ground with swords they've melted down and use them to harvest all these seeds we've sown. So now we're saying prayers of gratefulness like grace is all we've known. We're singing songs of freedom like they're songs we've always sung. We're sweetly leaking Jesus juice like Abraham's last son. Tell Isaac that his time has finally come. Okay. So we were all required to take a science class in college. It wasn't a science major. And geology, historical geology, was the course that we all took to fulfill that requirement and move on. It was called Rocks for Jocks. Not literally, it was dubbed Rocks for Jocks. But the lack of enthusiasm in the student body of this class was not at all reflected in the level of enthusiasm from the teacher. This fellow's name was David Dobson, and he gave a theatrical reenactment of the history of the universe. He was also the inventor of Snood, which made him extra cool to us. Snood is like backwards Tetris, and it's equally addictive to college students especially. So I distinctly remember David Dobson running around in front of the class, reenacting our ancestors, the humans' ancestors' role in the time of the dinosaurs, which was and a lot of things struck me about the class. I was on the edge of my seat, which I hadn't expected at all. History of the universe. The thing that really stuck with me the most that he told us in this class was that in the history of life on the planet Earth, the majority of life has existed as single-celled organisms. So in the majority of the history of life on Earth, life has existed as single-celled organisms. So a single-celled organism floating along in the ocean can't do much. It can float. It doesn't have moving parts. It's one cell. And essentially it lives or dies based on chance. It either runs into a bunch of amino acids, which helps it to live and reproduce, or it dies. And there was a moment where two of these cells said, and I specifically remember Dave acting this out, two of these single-celled organisms floating through the ocean, living or dying based on chance, said, "Hey man, you wanna get together? If I flap really hard and you open your mouth up there, we'll head towards those amino acids over there." Yeah, let's try that. Let's try that. And here we are. So I'd like to think that we're not done. I think it's pretty pompous of us to think of us as stagnant. Here we are as individuals. We've come from this, it's like, the majority of life on Earth was these single-celled organisms. It's like if you were single the majority of your life and you got married. We think of ourselves as these separate individuals. I make my decisions based on what I want to do. You make your decisions based on what you want to do. Sometimes they'll come into conjunction with each other. We did a series of discernment workshops, vocational discernment workshops, my senior year of college. Thank God. And so we were exploring our gifts. We were feeding back to each other what we saw as each other's gifts, sometimes each other's weaknesses. And sort of using that information, using that time to discern for ourselves what it felt like we were built to do, what it felt like our place in the world is. And I was saying, well, let's see, gosh, I don't like working inside. I I really like sleeping late. I like playing music, but who doesn't? You know? And after a series of these workshops and feedback from friends, I started saying, oh my God, I think I might actually be a musician. I think that might be like, all of these things combining together might be what my calling is, what I'm supposed to do. And that's scary. Why can't I just work in an office like a normal person? Like, come on, universe. All right, I'll do this music thing, but you gotta really mean it. If this is really what you built me for, you better have something big in mind. And as I've moved into that space, a space that felt so tenuous and especially in this culture is a very individualistic choice of, well, I think I'm good enough, so I'm going to make it. As I've moved into that space, I've realized that it's a give and take, that I'm being given something to hold that's not just a gift, but a burden to me. But I feel very lucky to have done that gifts discernment workshop because I feel like I started early. I talked to a lot of folks who later on in life are saying, yeah, I've been sort of trying to go on a like normal path, and I feel like I've been lying to myself. And I'd like to suggest that we're all parts of this body the way that we've been built. That who am I to not be the musician that I'm here to be? Who am I to pretend to be something safer? So now I'm looking at the moon like I'm the sun. I'm looking at the moon like I'm the sun, and she's reflecting passion back to me, the energy to run. And I don't care that it's nighttime. I don't care that day is done. I don't care that all the owls stare and judge me like I'm dumb, because I'm not dumb. I know enough to know that I don't know. My wisdom is sufficient to be quiet and to listen, because in the basicest of instances, our languages are different, and the isolated brain is intrinsically indifferent. So I'm going to be a body, and I'm beating like a heart, and I'm hoping that you'll be the blood to travel with this art, because the muscles might be tired, they might be atrophied, they might be looking to caffeine for energy they need. But come on, let's get together. Someone be the lungs, someone be the need to breathe, and someone be the tongue, someone be the eyes and ears, and someone be the hands, someone who can persevere, the feet on which we stand, and you're the rock body. No one's gift's left useless. The universe needs you to do the best that you can do with just what you've been given, with everything you've got. Your finite contribution fills a hole that mine does not, and together we can stand, together we can run, together we collect our calories straight from the sun, together we envision all our lives combined as one, and together we compose this bloody, bleeding, beating drum.